What's up in War Eagle War Report family? You got Ike Jones. We are here with another morning drop today. Coach Hugh Freezes had his press conference with the media addressing post Mississippi State leading up to Vanderbilt. We're here with our reaction to his comments. Y'all know how we do right here, War Report style. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report.
Morning drop. It is Tuesday, October 31st. It is Halloween for those of you who celebrate. Happy Halloween to y'all. But we are here on the morning drop doing our usual reaction. Got Ike Jones rolling solo today. Reaction to Coach Hugh Freezes' comments to the press yesterday regarding the aftermath of Mississippi State leading up to the Vanderbilt game. Before we get into the conversation, please go ahead and do the necessary, and that is sharing the video with somebody out there. Make sure that you add the War Report so we know that that happened. We appreciate everybody who continues to spread the word. Like the video if you feel inclined to. I'm asking really nicely. Could you please like the video? I really would appreciate you liking the video. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up on that video right now as you're watching live, or if you're watching it on replay. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you are listening out there in the podcast land, giving us those 5-star reviews definitely help us. So we appreciate those who continue to give us that feedback over there with podcasts. Anyway, Coach Hugh Freezes talks to the media like normal on every Monday. Yesterday, I won't say it was confrontational. He was being honest. Coach Hugh Freezes has been an honest coach the entire time he's been here. That's one of the things that I've remarked that I've liked the most about what Coach Hugh Freezes does is he just kind of gives his opinion. You don't really have to kind of wonder what's on his mind in regard to certain things. If you ask the question, he's definitely going to respond to it. If he feels some kind of way about a certain thing, he's definitely going to say it. And he admits that sometimes it may be a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I actually don't think it was a bad thing in yesterday's press conference. There's a lot of people who feel as if maybe he was being a little too whatever, but I liked it, man. I liked all the energy that he was bringing during the press conference. And, we definitely want to talk about some of the things that he said. I appreciate you guys dropping in with us today to talk about it. So we'll get into some of the comments for sure. I probably will leave the most notable portion of it for last, because I know that's the one that everybody wants to talk about. But I think the first thing that we want to get into is his comments about the game coming up, right, which is Vanderbilt. And Coach Hugh Freezes admits that the Vanderbilt game makes him nervous, right? Like a lot of Auburn fans are nervous about this game because of, Vandy's always this weird environment. We don't go to Vandy and play well, and Vanderbilt's a feisty team, all of those things. I stand by what I said yesterday. There's no reason that this Auburn team should lose to that Vanderbilt team. We do have all of the talent necessary to make it happen. He didn't say anything about, oh man, they're more talented. He did give props to, guys like Will Shepherd, the uncertainty around the quarterback position. Anyway, let's get into his comments and hear what he had to say, and then we'll talk about it.
I'm impressed with some of the things they do. And I don't know what Swan's status is. I don't really know if he could come back or not, but maybe I'd love to know that. Seals, and then this kid they brought in last week, Taylor, is very athletic. And that receiver is special. Shepherd, I think that may be his name. But, man, they make me nervous. You watch the way they competed against Georgia, and particularly at home. I think they're a different team there. And I've been impressed with Clark Lee every time I've been around him. And, they're going to be in the right spot. They're going to play hard. They're going to do the right things. And if you go up there and you don't get some momentum going your way, I've been there with a really good Ole Miss team now, and it was tough. And so they've got our full attention.
Definitely good to hear him say that they have the full attention of this staff. I hope that translates over to the team. If that's how they're going to approach it, that they're not going to look past Vanderbilt as a team that they just should beat. Hey, man, we should beat them. Let's keep, moving on to the next situation. Then they are going to go up there ready for whatever they're going to be seeing, and they're going to be able to handle business. I definitely like hearing him say that we're not looking past any opponent that we have on the schedule. Vanderbilt is a worthy opponent. They've got some talent. We talked a little bit about their defense and some of the struggles that they've had of giving up points yesterday. But they have been opportunistic on defense. They forced turnovers this year. They had quite a few pressures and sacks against Ole Miss last week. When they were running their tempo stuff, they were still able to get pressure on Jackson Dart when he was being forced to hold the ball a little bit. They were playing some kind of drop coverage on it, and they were able to get some pressure, making him go to a second read. But by the time he got there, he was under duress. So Vanderbilt, definitely an admirable team that you have to, they're feisty, man. They're going to go out there and they're going to fight. They're not going to just roll over because their record says that they aren't very good as far as, again, what the points that they're giving up. They've had opportunities in pretty much every game that they've been in, and then they've made some mistakes that have broadened the gap between them and their competition. I did like what I saw from the quarterback that they have there in his, he was coming in relief duty of the initial starting quarterback, which was not Swan, it was Ken Seals. So Ken Seals was initially starting in that game, got removed. Didn't seem like he was injured because he was able to come back in when the quarterback's helmet came off during a play. Anyway, my point is Vanderbilt has talent on that team. So I am glad to hear the coach say we're not looking past them. I've taken talented teams there and had a tough time versus Vanderbilt. So definitely hoping that that message is able to be translated throughout the entirety of the team, and they come in there focused and ready to go in there and get a dub versus Vanderbilt. Some of the other comments that Coach Hugh Freezes had to say were in regard to kind of the plan going into the game and how that plan was something that, it's kind of non-negotiable about, hey, we're going to go in here and we're going to play. We're going to give an opportunity to a quarterback. Let's figure out which of those quarterbacks it is. I'm going to make sure I have the right clip here. I believe this is the clip of Coach Hugh Freezes talking about the plan coming into the game.
I'm impressed with some of the things they do. And I don't know what Swan's status is.
That is not the correct clip. All right, I'll get the correct clip queued up here so that we can play that one. Let's get into the meat, though. Let's get into the one everybody wants to talk about. Coach Hugh Freezes, when asked the question about the aggressive nature of the offense, or lack of aggression, I guess I should say, in the second half of the game versus Mississippi State, Coach Hugh Freezes basically laid it out. He was like, listen, you tell me what you would have done. All right, so let's hear Coach Hugh Freezes' statements about the aggressive nature or the lack of aggression in play calling second half versus Mississippi State.
I take great. I think y'all would all say, man, I have been very transparent with you guys since I've been here, maybe to a fault. And but I think genuine relationships kind of are like that. And so, will you permit me to be transparent with this, and we can have an honest dialogue about it, okay? I think it's pretty, you guys can say whatever you want, and whether it's opinion, whether it's facts, and I saw many of you, that was your take on it. Do you realize we had one possession in the third quarter? All right, what did we do on that? Got points. Pretty good drive. Do you realize in the fourth quarter that we had the football on the -3, the -5, and the -14, one possession on the 30 that I punted on 4th and 1. But we were up 2 scores. That's the only possessions we had. We were up 3 scores on one of them, 2 scores on the other, and they're bringing gut cross and super field missile every play as we're backed up trying to get into the game. So I would love and I was aggressive. I actually threw it for a first down, and we got called for a penalty and back. I threw it 3 times, which is pretty crazy probably, but I would love after this for you to go show me what aggressive looks like on the board, blocking super field missile and gut cross. I want to know. So absolutely, you guys that and ladies that I mean, you just say things and you don't. I mean, that's the facts. So I don't know how to be really more aggressive. That's the possessions we had. That was it. So I would have loved to have had some possessions like we did in the first quarter where we started at the 25 or the 30. But I promise you, I was not going to be aggressive up 2 scores on the 5-yard line or 3-yard line and let something crazy happen and a tip ball and they return it for a touchdown and all of a sudden momentum flips, and that would not be based in good wisdom.
So Coach Freeze saying not good wisdom to try to be aggressive in those scenarios. And I don't think that, anybody can disagree that, you shouldn't try to take home run shots from the inside the 5-yard line, inside the 10-yard line. But what I love about it is he is acknowledging, listen, I've heard people read comments about people saying coach should have done this, coach should have done this, he could do this, he lacked the aggression in the second half, the offense stalled, all of those things. And he's like, hey, listen, the facts are what the facts are. This is what our possessions looked like in the second half. These are the things that I saw. And this is what they were doing to attack us. Now, I'd love to hear what you would have done in those scenarios. And I've been pretty frank and candid in my comments yesterday that I don't know what the answer would have been of how we would have done anything differently in the second half of that game. So my critique has never been about necessarily us being aggressive in the second half. I actually think that it was a combination of, in some instances, we were little passive. And I think in some instances, Mississippi State made some really great adjustments to what we were attempting to do differently than what we did in the first half, or they did something different in the second half than what they had done in the first half in certain scenarios. So listen, I love that energy from Coach Hugh Freeze. I've always liked when coaches are just kind of frank with how they feel about certain things and really letting it be known, hey, I'm paying attention to what you guys are saying about our team out here in the media. And, if you guys are going to be as honest as you want to be in what you write and what you say, I get the right to be here on this podium, honest with what I feel about those things and what I think about them. So um, I love it. I love every bit of that energy. I ain't mad at all at Coach Hugh Freeze saying any of the things that he said in his comments there. All right. The other clip that I wanted to get into was in regard to just playing, kind of being who you are and having a strategy going in and saying this is what we were going to get done. So we'll hear those comments and then we'll get into some reaction on that.
Oh, we look at everything. We look at the schedule. We look at, how the schedule shakes out and, what gives us the best chance to compete, to have a chance to win the games. And, we're not always right. Sometimes we are. And so all of that has been looked at and taken into account. And I still say, man, we're a few plays from, being right there at the Georgia game and the Ole Miss game for sure. Doing the plan we had, but all that gets looked at for sure. And can we be effective? In a tempo offense, you got to win first down, which we did the other day. So, you guys literally you take my words and you like. So let me clarify. I absolutely want us to play with tempo, but can you always? No. I don't know. I mean, I think Ole Miss goes as fast as anybody, but if you watch our game against them, we did some things that got them out of that slowed them down. And so it's not like I can just walk out there and say, hey, forget it. We're going. That's not very wise. But when we have the opportunities to, we should be ready to. And that's what we had gotten away from. Because you can't, if you don't practice it, it's not going to happen with tempo. I don't care what you call it. You can call it hurricane. But if you hadn't practiced it in hurricane pace, it's not going to be what you want. And that's what we had to get back to.
So Coach Freeze saying, listen, we have to get back to being who we are, but we've got to practice it the proper way in order to be able to go out there and execute it on Saturdays. He also did another. He's like, hey, you guys, let me clarify what I'm saying, because y'all take everything I say and then you make it into this thing. He was being very forthright with the fact that he feels as if sometimes his words are being taken out of context, or he needs to clarify. Listen, people get mad at me for doing this all the time. I have to give disclaimers and say, hey, all right, listen, I'm not saying this, because people do that. They hear you say a thing and then they want to go and try to turn what you said into this other thing because they're viewing it from a certain perspective. So I understand the necessity or the necessity to do certain things like that. But what I do like about what he said is that we have not been who we need to be in regard to going out there and taking advantage of tempo and the opportunities that presented themselves prior to this past week versus Mississippi State. And we need to get back to that. So I love hearing that because it feels as if he's made a concerted effort to say, hey, these final games, let's get back to being who we need to be, and let's try to be that on a consistent basis. Being clear that you can't just do it, whenever. You can't just run tempo for the sake of tempo. But when you have those opportunities, let's get out there, let's push the pace, and let's get some opportunities for our offense to be who we are in our DNA so that we can be better on Saturdays and help our offense be better. Loved everything that he had to say about that as well. All right. That's it, man. That's it for the clips. I definitely want to see what you guys are talking about. So we're going to get into those comments. But today's morning drop is brought to you by show sponsor HelloFresh. So once again, we appreciate HelloFresh for getting in here and sponsoring what we have going on with the War Report. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Even though the fall can feel jam-packed, HelloFresh makes whipping up a home-cooked dinner actually doable with quick and easy options, including their 15-minute meals. That's less time than it takes to get delivery. With everything pre-portioned and delivered right to your door every week, it's really a no-brainer. We all know HelloFresh takes the hassle out of mealtime, but did you know that it can also save you money? HelloFresh is 25% less expensive than takeout, so that means you get an easy home-cooked meal on the table and more money back in your pocket. Visit HelloFresh.com/50rapport and use code 50rapport for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, that's HelloFresh.com/50rapport with code 50rapport for 50% off plus free shipping. The link is right down there in the description of this video, so you can go right there, put in your promo code. Again, HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Make sure you take advantage of that. I've been cooking up my HelloFresh meals here at the house. And listen, I am no chef, but it actually tasted good. I don't know if it was the HelloFresh step-by-step instructions, or maybe I cook better than I gave myself credit for. I'm older and I follow directions better. No, I don't follow directions well. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'm gonna give credit to HelloFresh. Because I just kind of be freestyling a little bit too much. Anyway, let's get into you all's comments because I love hearing what you all have to say. As always, we want to get comments started off with the super chat. So thanks to Auburn Dad for the super chat here. He says, I like a feisty Hugh Freeze than a melancholy Hugh Freeze. Definitely like the energy that Hugh Freeze was bringing to the press conference. Thanks there for the super chat, Auburn Dad. I was watching it and I was smiling the entire time because I just like the energy. Like you could hear it in his voice. Like his voice was like, man, y'all like it's almost like he wants to y'all say all this crap, but like you ain't never coached nothing. You come up here and tell me what you would have done. If you were me, you tell me what you would have done. And I was aggressive. I threw the ball a couple of times, got a penalty on it. So you tell me. I like it. I like the energy, coach. Stay Fly jumps in and says, Coach Hugh Freeze was speaking facts, and it made me correct my comments on the aggressions on the offense. Hey, listen, man, I think a lot of people have to correct comments. Again, I made comments about how aggressive the offense should be, but I also gave credit to on the other side to Mississippi State. But I love the fact that Coach Hugh Freeze is like, listen, man, we made the commitment in the moment to try to be conservative, considering what the field position was and how much of a lead we had at the time. If we go out there and we make a mistake in the position that we're in, we put our defense in a really bad position and, tip balls, something. He laid it all out of how he arrived at the thought process of what the play calls was. Listen, you just say, hey, coach, you made the decision you felt was good at the time. I'm not. I was going to make a comment about some other people. I ain't going to do that. No need. We just going to keep it right here in the War Report house. Because they didn't comment about me specifically, so I won't say it. Anyway, keep it moving. Auburn Dad jumps back in and says, if we play like we did in the first half versus Vandy is going to be cooked with no short throws and check down, long, good running games. Listen, with the short throws and check downs and a good along with good running games. So yeah, if we have a good run game, short throws, checking it down when necessary, if we play like that, like we did in the first half, it will be difficult for Vanderbilt to win this game. That's what I feel. I feel as if we play a game like we did in the first half versus Mississippi State. There is no reason why we can't walk out of Vanderbilt with a W. I feel like we are a more talented team than Vanderbilt top to bottom. I feel like we have the offensive prowess to be able to go out there and put up points like every other offense that has walked into Vanderbilt and has done. And I feel as if we have a good defense. There's no reason why Auburn should not be able to win this game on paper. Absolutely. Mad Barber jumps in and says, I think Vandy could beat Mississippi State. Everybody likes to clown them because they're not regularly a high-tier team. I get it. They don't win a lot, but they've snuck up on teams in the past. Absolutely. And this is why I love Coach Hugh Freezes' comments about, listen, they have my attention. We're not walking in here thinking this is an automatic dub. We have to go out there and we have to handle business. There's absolutely nothing. There's no reason why you should walk into an opponent's stadium and say to yourself, this is a guaranteed victory. Nothing is guaranteed out here. You have to go out there and you have to win it on the field. I love that energy from the coach. I love that energy. And I hope that that permeates and translates down to the players feeling that same way, that this is not a guaranteed win. These are still Power 5 athletes over here on the other side, and we have to go and win the game. They're not going to give it to us. JB says exactly, responding to TK, we have looked horrible on the road this year, so we can't think like Ike. I don't know what that means. You can't think like Ike. What portion of what I've said do you not want the team to do? Go in there and play like they did in the first half? Go out there and handle business versus a team that you should beat? Which portion of that should we, and I don't even know who the we is in that scenario, maybe the team should not think like me, that if they handle business, they should win this football game? I would assume that they should think like that. So yeah, I would love clarity on that. AU Curmudgeon says, hey, coach, don't bring logic into this. Feelings all that matter. I love it. I love the whole shtick there. Listen, it hurts sometimes when you get hit with a logical basis for why people make decisions the way that they do. And it does take a little bit out of the sting of some of the comments that people are saying when you attack it with a little bit of logic, as opposed to it being all emotion. Now, me, I'm like 85% emotion when I get on here and talk, because I love to stir the pot a little bit, especially when I'm talking about other teams, but I bring facts to the table too. I'm going to bring my facts first, and then I'm going to smack you in the face with those facts very emotionally. So that's the way I choose to approach things. It's like, hey, let's talk about the facts of what it is. You see these facts, and then, smack you in the face with those facts. And then we can talk emotionally about how you felt about that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Anyway, there we go. I was waiting on JB to comment back. We can't think like we are so much better than them that we can roll in there and win. We were more talented and better than the last time we played and took an L. It's never what I said. So I don't know what portion of what I said led you to believe that that's how I think. I said that we are better than them, and I said that we should win, but we also, Vandy is a feisty team. You need to go out there and play like you should in order to handle that. So, but again, this is why I feel Coach Freeze, because I didn't say what you're saying I said, but somehow you took that to mean that. But it's cool. I get it. And I appreciate, listen, JB, man, you are awesome, man. You are always in here speaking facts, man. So I want you to continue to speak whatever that truth is. And I'm here to have that conversation with y'all. Y'all are awesome. Interesting thing here that has not been brought up. I was going to talk about this on tomorrow's show, but since Chris S. talked about it today, he says McAllister is a leader on the team, and he'll make sure the defense takes this game seriously. Elijah McAllister being a transfer from Vanderbilt is an interesting storyline. I wonder what the over-under is on how many times that gets mentioned in the broadcast during the game on Saturday. Looking forward to seeing what he brings to the standpoint of just kind of making sure the defense has in mind, because he's been on the other side of this equation, right? Like, he's been on a Vanderbilt team that people have thought weren't very good, and they come into their stadium. What's that mindset going to be like? We'll definitely talk about this a little bit more tomorrow when we get into the matchups. So I am looking forward to talking about that a little bit. Anyway, that's it, man. I am going to get out of here. It's Been great talking with you guys. As always, want to give a tip of the hat to the people who sponsor the morning drop. That is the Rogue Shop. Head over to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you do. Rogue Shop is America's #1 online dispensary. Y'all know we hanging out with a lot of number ones here, man. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh, America's #1 online dispensary with the Rogue Shop. Best customer service in Auburn area. Like, man, it's just number ones want to hang out with the War Report. You guys can do a little bit of something to help us continue to be #1 out there. And that stuff like liking the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel, 5-star reviews out there on podcasts. There are a lot of things you can help to continue to push War Report to #1 out there in these interwebs. And we appreciate those of you who continue to do that. We're out of here. We'll be back at you with another morning drop tomorrow. Members, turn your notifications on. We got more film review coming. That's it. Until the next time. And as always, War Eagle.
Drop.